Jarvis. That's his
He
name.
was a good player last year.
Yeah, he was. And then, of course, the outfield is one of the best in baseball, and it's definitely a new look for the Padres. They got rid of all their outfielders.
Considering last year's starting outfield was Cameron Maben, Will Venable, and Seth Smith.
Right. They have Upton, Myers, and Kemp filling out. Carlos Quentin is
on the bench.
It looks like he would play left field.
It's too bad they're not an American League team because he can make a quality DH because he probably would be able to stay healthy if he wasn't playing the field.
Will Venable, of course, would back up in center or right field as well.
Venable had a really good year a couple of years ago.
Right. Okay, let's move over to the Arizona Diamondbacks staying in the NL West. Josh Collmenter is their bona fide ace. There you go.
Yeah, that wouldn't make me feel too good if I was a Diamondbacks fan.
No, I wouldn't feel too good about it either. Jeremy Hellickson, Ruby De La Rosa, Aaron Webster, that's his name, right? Aaron Webster.
Yeah.
Trevor Cahill and Anderson. Chris Anderson.
Chase Anderson.
Chase Anderson. I just see the initial.
Their top pitchers are probably good number 3 and 4 guys.
Yeah, that's...
that says a lot.
I don't like Hellickson at all. I think he was really bad with Tampa Bay, wasn't he?
He had a good rookie year. He was good his second year, and then after that he kind of dropped off. I mean, he could be a really good number 3 or 4 starter in he's probably a 3, 4, or a 5, depending on which Hellickson you get. If you get the rookie year Hellickson, he's a good 3. If you get the year 2 Hellickson, he's a good 4. If you get the Hellickson after that, you probably don't want him in your rotation.
Right. And their closer, of course, is the former Sox closer, Addison Reed.
Addison Reed, that's right. And one of their best bullpen pitchers, David Hernandez, is recovering from Tommy John surgery.
They also have...
They do have Bronson Arroyo in the rotation, who is also out with Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, out until mid-2015, they say, along with Patrick Corbin.
Okay, that's right. They do have a really good pitcher. I was trying to remember who it was, and then I remember Corbin needed Tommy John surgery last year. I like Corbin. I thought he was a good pitcher.
They have Brad Ziegler coming out of the bullpen.
Really, really good player.
They have a couple other guys, too, in their bullpen. They have Evan Marshall is a bullpen pitcher that they have. I've never really heard of him, but he's there. Oliver Perez.
Good left-handed option. In the lockdown, he's been locked down in the bullpen since he's turned himself into a left-handed specialist out of the bullpen.
Randall Delgado as well.
Former top prospect of the Atlanta Braves who turned into a bust.
So that's sort of their bullpen. Their bullpen's not that strong, but it's doable for what they have, I guess. Their catcher is a guy that I hadn't really heard of, Tuffy Ghostwitch.
And don't they have their backup was like Oscar Hernandez?
Hernandez.
And he's out right now or something.
And they also have Jordan Pacheco.
Yeah, they did say that they have no intentions to upgrade at catcher, which I'm having a hard time. I was wondering if the Cubs offered them Castillo in the Montero trade.
I'm sure they wanted to.
Because, I mean, they could have probably gotten away with not giving up Jefferson Mejia. Although you never know. Maybe they didn't want Castillo or the Cubs didn't want to trade him in case they couldn't sign David Ross.
Right. Their third baseman is Yasmani Tomas.
Thomas, the Cuban outfielder who they are turning into a third baseman with tremendous power. They say that he might have more than Abreu. However, it won't be as much of a pure hitter as Jose Abreu.
Their shortstop is Chris Owings.
He's a former top prospect, doesn't really have much power, had a nice rookie year last year.
Second base is Aaron Hill still.
Good veteran. I believe this is the last year of his contract.
And, of course, first base, who could forget? Paul Goldschmidt.
They do have franchise players on this team.
Left field, they have Peralta. And center field, A.J. Pollock. Right field, Trumbo. Peralta, that is David Peralta.
And I believe they have Ender Inciarte as one of their backup options.
Yes, he's a backup for all 3 spots right now, it says so.
He's a good player. They've got a lot of young players on that team. And that Tuffy Gosowicz, who's their catch... Oh, no, that's not Tuffy. Oscar Hernandez, who's the backup catcher, he was a Rule 5 draft pick.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what they have there for the Diamondbacks. Moving on to the Rockies. Jorge De La Rosa is their ace.
No, it's Kyle Kendrick.
Well, right now...
I know. On the depth chart, Jorge De La Rosa is number 1. Except Kyle Kendrick is the opening day starter.
Yeah, that's
when you know you have an awful rotation.
Jordan Lyles, Matzek, and Gray.
Jonathan Gray.
Yeah, Jonathan Gray.
He was the number 3 pick in the Chris Bryant draft.
Oh, okay.
See, when before that draft, all the analysts were saying that it was between Mark Appel and Jonathan Gray. The Cubs were going to take whichever one of those guys the Astros did not take. Which I was hoping that wasn't the case, because the power that Chris Bryant possessed seemed like there was going to be no guy that had that kind of power ever again in the draft, and if it does, maybe 15 years from now.
Bullpen, you got LaTroy Hawkins as the closer.
Wow, is that an old name?
I think he didn't he say this would be his final year? I think
he's over 40.
Yeah. They have Jonathan Axford from Milwaukee. They have him. He's okay.
He was really good, and then he had one good year, and then that was the end of him.
They have Rex Brothers.
He's a good bullpen option. He's been there for a while.
Adam Ottavino. I think he's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty good. They've got good bullpen pitchers.
Oh, and Boone Logan.
They gave him a 3-year deal last offseason.
So here's how their offense plays out, their offense and defense. Nick Huntley.
Yeah, make sure to list the backup options at shortstop and left field.
Okay. Yeah, that's for sure. So they have Nick Huntley, and then, of course, third base, Nolan Arenado. They have Descalso backing, who can also play third.
Nolan Arenado's a really Gold Glove third baseman, has a good enough bat for them. Now, at catcher, who's the backup to Huntley?
McHenry, it says.
I guess Rosario's not the catcher anymore.
It says Rosario's listed under McHenry, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything if they're going in alphabetical order, which I don't think they are. But if they
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I don't know. They shortstop, of course, is Tulo. Descalso will be playing a lot of games.
I guess they got a solid utility player from the Cardinals.
Yeah. Second base, DJ LeMahieu, the former Cub.
We got Ian Stewart in return for him. And he's a really good defender.
First base is Justin Morneau. He's been around for a while.
Is Rosario the backup to him?
Yes, it does say Rosario the backup to him, so maybe he'll be playing some first
I know
base.
They didn't think Rosario was like a great catcher. They just wanted to try him out at first base because he's got a good bat.
Left field, Chris Dickerson. Center field, Charlie Blackmon, and right field, Carlos Gonzalez. Charlie Blackmon, Drew Stubbs is also there.
Drew Stubbs is a solid right-handed option for them. He can kill left-handed pitching.
Right. Let's move on over to the Central. We'll start with who will probably win the division again, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Who made a big upgrade. They upgraded their bullpen by trading for Jordan Walden, and then they got a franchise right fielder in Jason Hayward if they can re-sign him.
Their rotation, Adam Wainwright's the guy. He's been the guy for quite a while now. Lance Lynn, John Lackey, Michael Wacha, and Martinez.
Carlos Martinez. Yeah, I think I read Jaime Garcia's the favorite to win the fifth starter battle.
Okay.
Just because he's had more proven success and he's left-handed.
Yeah, it looks like it's either going to be Garcia, Marco Gonzalez, or Chris Martinez.
And I read that Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, Carlos Martinez.
And I did read that Garcia has been having a fantastic spring. I mean, he was really good until he had all those shoulder issues. I think they'll want him just to get a left-handed option in there. Their
closer is Trevor Rosenthal.
Yeah, he's a flamethrower. They got him in that elusive 2009 draft. And I just want to talk about that draft real quick. So, you know how the White Sox took Jared Mitchell 2 picks before Mike Trout?
Yeah, I remember that name.
They technically had the pick before Mike Trout because the Angels had the next 2 picks. They had the next 2 picks, and they took Randall Grichuk and then Mike Trout.
Oh, okay.
So technically Jared Mitchell is the guy that was taken before Trout because the Angels had the next 2 picks.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sure White Sox fans are thrilled that they could have had Trout.
And the Cardinals bullpen is still pretty good. Walden, as you talked about earlier. Seth Manis, They have Randy Choate.
Yeah, left-handed option. I'm sure they'll be thrilled when he's gone.
Kyle Segrist. And they do have Charlie Villanueva.
Carlos.
Or the Carlos Villanueva. I'm getting confused here. Yeah, they have him. He's a
good swing man.
Yeah, he's not going to be in the rotation like he was with the Cubs for a while.
Yeah, well, those were some pretty bad Cubs teams.
Right. Their offense, Yadier Molina, of course, is the catcher. Matt Carpenter, third base. Johnny Peralta, shortstop. Colton Wong is the second baseman. Pete Kozma can back up at either short or second. Matt Adams at first base.
Yeah.
They also have Mark Reynolds that they got from Milwaukee.
Yeah, so. I think that's in case Adams can't hit left-handed pitching again. The thing with Matt Carpenter at third base, phenomenal player. What great contact hitter, draws walks, has a high batting average, good on-base percentage. The only problem is he's probably better suited for second base with that kind of production, because third base you probably want a home run hitter there, and Colton Wong's not like a home run hitter at second base.
No. Left field, you have Holiday, John Jay with Peter Borges behind him, and Jason Hayward is the new right fielder with Randall Grichuk.
That was the guy taken before Mike Trout.
Yeah, that was the guy taken before Mike Trout, as you said.
Yeah, the Angels traded him to the Cardinals in either the David Frey, and I believe that it might have been the David Freese deal, or maybe it was something before that. Grichuk did hit a home run off of Kershaw in the playoffs.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. That was very upsetting. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Pirates here, as they had a pretty good 2014 season, looking to get back to the playoffs again. Their rotation, Francisco Liriano, Garrett Cole, Charlie Morton, A.J. Burnett, Vance Worley. So not a very good fourth and fifth there.
I'm not sure about...
Oh, and Jeff Locke is their sixth.
I'm not sure about the numbers 3 and 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Morton either. So that's sort of how their starting rotation. I mean, it's not bad.
It's not bad. It'll be good enough. It could get them to the playoffs because they have a fantastic bullpen led by Mark Melancon.
Yeah, Mark Melancon, the closer. Watson, Hughes, Antonio Bastardo, Pimentel.
That's right. They traded for Bastardo from the Phillies.
Yeah, they've definitely got a good bullpen. Their catcher, Francisco Cervelli, the new catcher of the Pirates.
That's right. Yeah, they traded for a couple backup catchers.
Right. Josh Harrison, the third baseman. Jody Mercer is their shortstop.
Yeah, I think eventually they'll be looking for an upgrade over Jordy Mercer.
Second base, Neil Walker.
He hit like 24 home runs last year.
And Pedro Alvarez is their first baseman. He's moving from third to first.
Yeah, I'm sure when he's causing his defenders to make errors because he can't pick a ball, that the Pirates will get frustrated with him again.
Pretty interesting. They also have Corey Hart. He could play right field or first base.
Yeah, they got a right-handed option against a tough left-handed pitcher for Alvarez. Because remember, Alvarez was never a good batting average guy.
Right. Left field, Starling Marte. Center field, Andrew McCutchen, of course, and right field is
Gregory Polanco.
So that,
and I know they traded Travis Snyder, so they don't have him to back guys up anymore.
Right. All right, it is time to go over the Chicago Cubs roster. Dun, 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 which we've done before, but it's kind of cool to see it right
multiple times. You know, it'll be fun. And I know Madden said he sees Alcantara as his Ben Zobrist with the Cubs. So we know that he... And did you hear the report that Madden said that he doesn't know who told Baez he was making the opening day roster? Because remember, I heard when I heard that Baez was going to make the roster, I was just like, what has he done to make the roster? He's batting 150 with one home run and a ton of strikeouts.
Yeah. So we've got John Lester, Jake Arrieta, Jason Hamill, Kyle Kendricks, and now Travis Wood. They'll certainly be the fifth man.
The funny thing is about Hendricks is he's been their best pitcher all spring, and he was okay at AAA, and he was fantastic at the major league level. You're kind of wondering, he's had an unbelievable spring. You're kind of wondering if he's literally going to be a really, really good, maybe possibly a number 2 pitcher.
Yeah, he could be eventually.
Because, he's smart. He makes smart pitches. He gets soft contact. He has a good sinker. Doesn't have to throw hard. Doesn't have to strike guys out. He gets outs in weak contact, and he's been good at it. And I love watching him hit. I was at a game last year that he pitched. He had an at-bat that lasted 14 pitches.
Wow.
He kept he knows the strike zone. He's smart. And he ended up being called out on strikes. Except still